Dear fellow truth seekers, thank you and welcome for visiting my channel, MythoReligio. MythoReligio is a video channel based on a book series with the same name about religious comparison studies between the stories in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism and Buddhism, directly from their sacred books and world mythologies, hence the name MythoReligio. The purpose is to retrace the prehistory of humanity, since I'm not fully satisfied with either the explanations from the point of view of creationist nor evolutionist. There are so many missing links in both explanations. If you feel the same, then you are on the right channel. In this channel, I will also analyze about the prehistory of humanity from the archaeological records, modern scientific point of view, and other alternative theories such as the ancient alien theories and Atlantis or Lemuria legends. After thorough research of circa 30 years, I recognize many similarities between all religious stories and even mythologies, and surprisingly, some of them are in accordance or even beyond modern science that have been proven as correct. Thus, I came to the conclusion that all religions must have come from the same source. And all these religious stories and mythologies, although heavily jumbled up, are actually telling one mega story, the true prehistory of our common ancestors. This mega story is quite different than what we have been told to believe and will truly blow your mind, as it is more fascinating than our imagination. If you have watched the earlier videos in this channel, I believe you can see some of the similarities too. If you haven't and you truly want to do a religious comparative study, I suggest that you do so. The best way to do a comprehensive religious study via this channel is by watching the videos starting from number 1 and continue until this present video and so on. That way you will see a clear pattern. In this channel I will share almost all that I have written in my book series. However, there is one book so far that I cannot share in this channel due to its sensitive, shocking and dark nature, and also might be considered controversial to some, but I believe it sheds more light to the above conclusion. If you want to read this around 500 pages ebook with many full-color illustrations, you are more than welcome to download book number 5 entitled History of the Dark Side, that is available for free in ebook format that can be found in my website www.mythoreligio.com. You only have to give your email address and it will be sent to you directly. And no, I won't share your email address nor send any advertisement. The link is in the description box. If you want to get the physical book, kindly go to amazon.com. Now let's continue with this week's video. Evolution from apes to humans, Part 1. Is it possible? Dear fellow truth seekers, for the last few weeks I have shared with you the scientific theories on the origin of life, i.e. the theory of evolution and the Big Bang theory, for our religious versus science comparison study. I did this in order to find answers to the questions that are not answered satisfactorily by religion. In the last video, I have shared with you one of the many missing links in the theory of evolution that haven't been answered by science satisfactorily, i.e. about the evolution of animals from land to air, i.e. from dinosaurs to birds. Now let's continue to analyze the final stage of evolution, that is, the hominid evolution. Despite the acknowledgement of the evolution theory, we saw that there are no proven mechanisms in nature to lead the living beings to evolve, and that living species came into existence not as the result of an evolutionary process. So, what about human evolution? Based on the fossil records, more than 6,000 ape species have lived and most of them have become extinct. Today, only 120 ape species live on the earth. According to the theory of evolution, man and today's apes have common ancestors. These creatures evolved in time, and some of them became the apes of today, while another group that followed another branch of evolution became the man of today. However, there are numerous anatomical differences between apes and men, and none of them are of the kind to come into existence through an evolutionary process. Here are some of the differences. Humans' brain is more developed. Humans have complex thoughts, speech, and extensive tool use. Humans have fewer muscles. Apes have 24 pairs of chromosomes and humans 23 pairs. Humans' pelvis and knees are designed for vertical posture. Humans are habitual and obligate bipeds, or 2 feet, that engage in a wide and diverse variety of erect locomotion: walking, running, skipping, jumping, dancing. And apart from a brief period of crawling in infancy, normally, unlike all other primates, do not engage in any form of quadrupedalism, 4 feet. Bipedalism is more energetically favorable for humans, and that's because our bodies are adapted to this form of locomotion. The vertebrae in our backs are organized in a way to distribute the weight down to our pelvis, which has a very different structure compared to other great apes. Human legs are longer and the bones are more robust than our arms because they bear more weight than the arms. The knee joint and the foot also exhibit differences that are beneficial to bipedal walking. Bipedalism is not a favorable form of locomotion for apes, because their bodies are adapted primarily for terrestrial quadrupedal knuckle walking. Compared to humans, their arms are longer than their legs. Their backs are not specialized in weight distribution, and their hands, rather than their feet, exhibit robustness because they bear lots of weight and force. The following illustration compares some of the soft tissue involved in the biomechanics differences between chimps and humans. In the top left of the illustration are the drawings of the 3 semicircular canals located in the inner ear, the primary organs for maintaining balance. In humans, 2 of the 3 canals are specialized to stabilize the head. Furthermore, in humans, there are fewer muscle connections between the head and the shoulders when compared to the ape. That is because quadruped apes have to fight gravity in order to hold their heads up while walking on 4s. Our head just sits on our necks. In contrast to the head and neck, humans have more connections between the gluteus maximus muscle in the buttocks and the hip than apes do, which stabilizes the femur into the pelvis and helps keep the trunk and leg moving together. Both of the Achilles tendon of the heel and the tendon of the arc of the foot are much smaller in apes than they are in humans. In a running person, they act like springs, absorbing and releasing energy. Apes don't walk upright because it hurts. It is draining and inefficient. Apes sometimes walk in short bipedal bursts, but when they do walk bipedally, they experience more tension on their bones and joints than humans do. That added tension and force costs more energy for apes to walk bipedally because they aren't adapted for it. The same way if humans walk on all 4, we will soon experience tension on our bones and joints. Human bodies are efficient at bipedal walking. Now, according to the evolution theory, the following 4 main categories are listed. 1. Australopithecus. 2. Homo habilis. 3. Homo erectus. 4. Homo sapiens. Australopithecus, meaning southern ape, is categorized as the ape-like ancestors of man. In Greek, the word Australis means south and Pithekos means ape. It was named for the fact that it lived in modern-day South Africa. It was the first of many hominid species to be discovered on the African continent. Living beings in the Homo or human series are more developed than Australopithecus, and not very much different from today's man. Homo sapiens or modern man is supposedly the latest stage of the evolution of the Homo genus. Then, which fossils are human and which ones are apes? Is it ever possible for any of them to be considered a transitional form? In order to find the answers, let us have a closer look at each category. Australopithecus. The first category is the genus Australopithecus, meaning southern ape, as previously mentioned. According to the evolution theory, these creatures first appeared in Africa about 4 million years ago and lived until 1 million years ago. This genus is divided into a number of different species. The oldest Australopithecus species is Australopithecus afarensis. Their cranial capacities are the same or smaller than the chimpanzees of our day. There are projecting parts in their hands and feet which they use to climb trees just like today's chimpanzees, and their feet are built for grasping to hold on to branches. They are short, maximum 130 centimeters or 51 inches, and just like today's chimpanzees, male Australopithecus is larger than the female. Many other characteristics, such as the details in their skulls, the closeness of their eyes, their sharp molar teeth, their mandibular structure, their long arms, and their short legs constitute evidence that these creatures were no different from today's ape. However, although Australopithecines have the anatomy of apes, unlike apes, supposedly they walk upright or bipedal like humans. This claim that Australopithecines walk upright is a view that has been held by many paleoanthropologists for decades. Nevertheless, other scientists who have carried out a great deal of research on the skeletal structures of Australopithecines argue the validity of this argument. Extensive research done on various Australopithecus specimens by two world-renowned anatomists from England and the USA, Lord Solly Zuckerman and Professor Charles Oxnard, showed that these creatures did not walk upright in a human manner. Having studied the bones of these fossils for a period of 15 years, Lord Zuckerman and his team of 5 specialists reached the conclusion that Australopithecines were only an ordinary ape genus and were definitely not bipedal, although Zuckerman is an evolutionist himself. Solly Zuckerman, Beyond the Ivory Tower, New York, Toplinger Publications, 1970, page 75 till 94. Correspondingly, Charles E. Oxnard, who is another evolutionist famous for his research on the subject, also likened the skeletal structure of Australopithecines to that of today's orangutans. Charles E. Oxnard, The Place of Australopithecines in Human Evolution, Grounds for Doubt. Nature, Volume 258, page 389. The image on the left is the skull of an Australopithecus afarensis AL444-2 fossil, and on the right is the skull of a contemporary ape. There is no difference between these two skulls. The first fossil in this image, which was found in Ethiopia, Hadar, which is supposed to belong to Australopithecus afarensis species AL288-1 or Lucy. For a long time it was believed that Lucy could walk upright, but the latest research has established that this animal was an ordinary ape with a bent stride. The well-known French magazine Science et Vie made this its cover story of its May 1999 issue. The story dealt with Lucy, the best-known fossil specimen of Australopithecus afarensis, under the title Adieu Lucy, meaning Goodbye Lucy, and wrote of the need to remove Australopithecus from the human family tree. The article, based on the discovery of a new Australopithecus, code number STW573, stated, "A new theory states that the genus Australopithecus is not the root of the human race. The results arrived at by the only woman authorized to examine STW573 are different from the normal theories regarding mankind's ancestors. This destroys the hominid family tree. Large primates, considered the ancestors of men, have been removed from the equation of this family tree. Australopithecus and Homo or human species do not appear on the same branch. Man's direct ancestors are still waiting to be discovered. Isabelle Bourdiel, Adieu Lucie, Science et Vie, May 1999, number 980, page 52-62. In short, the Australopithecus species most likely are just extinct apes that resemble the apes of today. Next week, I will continue with the rest of the hominid evolution. But for now, allow me to thank you for watching and hope to see you next week.